So how's it going here in Mississauga today? How's the market? It's pretty good here. I mean, I work here too. I think it's doing pretty good. It's amazing having the chance to travel around Ontario and you see the differences in the different markets, what people are experiencing. However, today what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to show you all my secrets, and I work here. But really what I'm going to talk about is my online journey, how I built something online. And hopefully it can either spur you to, develop something that maybe you're thinking about. So we'll just get right into it. So before I get going, I just want to tell you a quick story. So last night we were all sitting around having the speaker's dinner, and we were talking about it. And we all agreed that at the end of the day, no matter how much technology we have, how slick we get with our websites, we're still in a people business, and that's never going to change. What changes are the tools that we use in order to still get to that face-to-face to build that relationship. Now, when we talk about online, I've got a really good story. I have 3 boys, and my 2 oldest boys, they get into everything. So they're 6 and 7. They want to touch everything. Everywhere we go, let's go do this, let's go do that. And we were at the grocery store with my wife the other day, and I noticed, those hand sanitizer dispensers? In every lineup in the grocery store, they had one of them. So Steph and I were waiting there, and we're in the lineup, and I'm like, Matthew, look, a hand dispenser. And as soon as they see something like that, they want to go play with it. So my middle son, Ryan, walks up to the dispenser, and he does this. And I'm watching him, and I'm like, you got to push the button, dude. And he had no clue. Our new generation, he had no clue that it wasn't automatic. So he sat there, and then we're having a big laugh about it. But it really came down to it, and I used that story to communicate that when we talk about online stuff, there's no magic bullet. There's no one size fits all. If I just do this, everything's going to be okay, or that machine's going to just squirt out what I want. You still got to do something and use that tool, but make it work for you. So today we're going to talk about my story, where we all start in this business, standing out, knowing your stuff. I'll talk to you about my specialty, the villages of Mississauga, and finally I'll just touch briefly on leads, the type of leads in the lead funnel, and then Andrew, who's up next, is an expert in this stuff, and he'll take it into more detail. And finally I'll give you 5 quick tips to success in this. So here you go, here's a picture of my family, here's my wife and my 3 kids. I like to show this to you because I'm just like you. I sell houses, I'm not a professional speaker or a vendor here, and over the course of my career I've learned a lot from other realtors, and I like to share and pass it back. So I charted out how my real estate career has gone so far. So in the beginning, I started out and did, what you were supposed to do. So, got busy, got on the phone, started cold calling, started door knocking, and slowly but surely business started to go up. And then I had a kid, and business went down. Anybody knows it's a lot of late nights. It kind of gets tough to get belly to belly. So again, baby gets a little older, back at it again, doing the calls, making the contacts, business starts to go up. And lo and behold, we had another kid. And again, took a little bit of a dip. So again, get back at it, rock and roll, business starts to go up, doing the calls, doing everything, and lo and behold, again, another kid. So finally, kind of a light bulb came off, and I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. Obviously, we can still do the tried and tested, but it's like, how do I generate business while I'm not working? And I'm using babies as an example, but people get sick, we have things that happen in our lives, and we can't always constantly be making those calls, those knocks. And this is why I decided to really invest in this. So what did I learn? When building a business, it's always good to have another source of income, maybe a trust fund. No, that's not a good piece of advice. What I did learn is that your business is directly related to how much you can prospect and generate business. And the whole point of me getting into business was create a better life for my family and actually save time. But at that time, none of that was happening. So where do we start? So not to pick on anything, because I think almost all brokerages are the same, we get the typical advice that makes you a top agent in 1995. So not busy, get busy. Cold call, door knock, do open houses, they're all great. But what I find with those type of actions is you're only as good as your last action. So once you stop that, if that's what you're really relying on, it goes downhill. So the online solution. So by working your business online, it's affordable, much more affordable than other types of advertising mediums such as newspaper, print, billboards. You're able to leverage yourself. So my website works when I'm sleeping. It's working all year round. And finally, it's evergreen. So when you develop good content, that good content will get you clients, leads 3 years from now. So I would much rather put my effort into building a kick-butt page about my area or specialty than knock on 20 doors, because I know it's going to keep generating leads and business. So standing out. Everybody has a website in this business. Does anybody not have a website? Nice, I respect you. No. But everybody has a website, and the problem is everybody's on social media, okay? But we all look the same. 98% of us, we have the same canned stuff on our websites. We do the same posts on social media. Look, I'm having an open house. I just sold a house. And it's really, really boring. And with the same generic calls to action, we don't stand out from anybody else. So, I mean, I'm sure you can get the consumer panel here, and they could look at 12 of our websites, take an hour, and they wouldn't know who was who. It would all be the same. And that's a huge problem. If you're going to go down this road of building your website, I highly suggest you find out what is your specialty. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my neighborhoods, but it could be anything. It could be luxury homes, it could be condos, it could be retirement communities. In Sudbury, we were talking to some guys, I'm like, what about hunting? Because Americans buy cottages, but it's whatever is your specialty online, go after the specialty. Because people, when they're searching online, they're looking for experts. They're not looking for generalists. And we're not the gatekeepers anymore. So online, be generous with your information. Don't feel like, I got to get this guy on the phone to tell him about this neighborhood, because it doesn't work that way. And Google rewards experts. So the search engines, if you start writing content that's unique, that people read, Google's going to start pushing you up, and you're going to be found in your expertise. So don't be afraid to be unique, okay? Because by being unique, being yourself, having a stand, you're going to attract like-minded clients to you. Knowing your stuff. When dealing online, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you is you have to know your stuff, okay? And what I mean by that is you can go ahead and hire companies to help you with SEO. You can hire companies to generate leads, and that's fine, and I've done it. But if you don't understand this yourself, you'll be taken advantage of, okay? Because let's face it, everybody thinks we're millionaires, and they want to charge us a lot, but nobody really cares about your business as much as you do. So it's your responsibility, if you want to go down this road, to understand how Facebook works, to understand how website works. And at least after that, if you choose to go higher, you'll have a good idea and you'll be in a better spot. So here's my specialty, the villages of Mississauga. So what I did was, a lot of you here are from Mississauga, and what I found is a lot of my clients, or even just Sphere people I knew, they'd say, Mississauga's all the same. It's this big, suburban nightmare, and it's not true. I mean, we're the 6th largest city in Canada. We have different neighborhoods. We have different demographics. There's a lot about the story of the city that gets glossed over. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell people about the different areas based on lifestyle and who would live there, who wouldn't. So I decided to build the villages. So the first step was to create landing pages. So I started creating pages about neighborhoods. Okay, so here's some examples of neighborhoods in Mississauga. So that was step one. So I created the whole city of Mississauga. Now, there are certain neighborhoods I work in more than others. However, I do have the whole city there. That way, when people are looking online, they can find out information on it. The next step, what I did was simply building neighborhood pages is fine and dandy, but a lot of you probably have neighborhood pages, and they're all over the internet now. So I decided to start ranking the neighborhoods, okay? And one of the big things I find as a realtors, one of our job is to tell stories, okay? So my view of a neighborhood is different than yours. But the type of client that wants to work with me, they want to hear my story because they're agreeing with the way I view the world. So by ranking these neighborhoods based off of what I find important and what my ideal client would find important, it was giving opinion to something where most of us say everything's great. Like, I think great's the best word in real estate. Oh, this is beautiful, great, great. No, it's not. Certain people would not want to live in that neighborhood, and if you let them know that, you build trust online. And finally, track success. So what you find is, at least in my example, is certain neighborhoods perform better. I start getting listings in those neighborhoods, getting a lot of buyers, and then those are the areas that you're going to concentrate on. Okay, so you have this page, it's a landing page, so I'm using Meadowvale as an example, it's a neighborhood here. And you have a landing page, but what you want to do in order to rank on Google, in order to be found, you need to start supporting that page. So, I do listing blogs, talk about the parks in the area, why I love the neighborhood, restaurants, do videos on it, and everything pushes to that page. So that's the page where we want to capture people. So I'm going to give you a high level, I did a drawing just to show you kind of how this works. So you have a landing page, it's your specialty. So for me, that's a neighborhood. For you, it could be a condo development or whatever it is, okay? So you have that page. This is the page ultimately that you want people to find you for and ultimately to sign up for something, give you their email, call you because you're the expert in this specialty. Next, when you have that, you're going to support that page by talking about it, by blogging. So this is where blogging comes in. Talking about whatever may be the case. So in a neighborhood, you might talk about how good the schools are. You may talk about the parks, whatever it may be. But what happens is Google starts to see that, hey, you're the expert in this. You're showing up everywhere. You're starting to own this neighborhood. So every time someone's looking, we're going to send them to you. And there you go. So organic search will start to reward you. And finally, this is where social media comes in. So the big mistake some of us make is we use Facebook like it's our website, and it's not. You need to have the base first, which is your website, your landing pages, your story, and then you can use social media to augment it, to drive traffic to it. And then you can also use advertising. So, I've made mistakes early in my career with advertising, sending people to the front of my page. It doesn't work. But once you have the base and what you want these people to do, then advertising is a great way to ramp up your traffic. So what's next? So we have the landing page, and there's only really two things that's going to happen. Well, three. One, they can leave, they don't like it. Or they can contact you, and as a real estate agents, we love when people call us on the phone. That's what I want. However, the majority of people aren't ready to call you online. So this is where we have a squeeze page. So for example, on a neighborhood page, the logical place to go, so if you came onto the Meadowvale, read about it, like the schools, you're like, okay, this is a place that maybe I want to live. The next logical step is I want to look at listings in this neighborhood. So that's a page where we capture people, and we're able to get their contact information. In my breakout session, I can go over the different websites I use, how we do this, okay? And then they get into your lead funnel. So I'm going to quickly go over a lead funnel on a high-end view of it, just as a view from a realtor. And then Andrew is going to get into it in more detail technically. 5 minutes? Good. So there's two types of leads, okay? There's the low-hanging fruit, so the ready now. And as real estate agents, we're trained to go after the low-hanging fruit. So we want it. Are you ready to buy now in the next week or two? And that's great. However, the majority of our leads are not low-hanging fruit, okay? Like 1% are low-hanging fruit. The rest of it is I'm not quite ready yet, but I need information, but don't bug me right now. We don't give them value on their terms. So again, it comes down to what are you sharing online? What type of expertise are you sharing? Instead of trying to move to getting, it's kind of like going on a first date for coffee and pushing it right to marriage the next day. Give them what they want and they'll start coming back to you and you can build a relationship that way. One of our other problems is we do treat high-hanging fruit, so people that are 6 months, 12 months out, like they're hot leads. And that's actually another problem. Once you start generating leads, you got to know how to manage these leads because not all are equal. And finally, the biggest problem I ever find is if you got a problem, it's because you don't have enough leads. And online, you need a lot of leads because it becomes a numbers game for a certain point. So here's my fancy triangle. Here's an example of low-hanging fruit. And here's an example of high-hanging fruit. Okay? The high-hanging fruit is where the gold is online. Okay? It's not the low-hanging fruit. We love it. And the reason I kind of really press on this is because I let a lot of leads go years ago, a lot of stuff, and by not having a system, just waiting for that person to pick up the phone and call. So you want to really create a system where you can nurture this and build a relationship with these people. In terms of lead capturing systems, I have a website and a blog. I do a WordPress, thevillageguru.com. I have a lead capturing website, so I have an agent locator. I'm not here to promote any one brand, but I use that. I also have a Lone Wolf website. And finally, I use a program called Lead Pages to create really slick-looking landing pages quickly where we're able to capture leads. And in my breakout session, I'll tell you how you can do that right away to start generating leads and possibly get some business. So I'll give you a couple of quick tips. So when you're doing this, find your specialty. I'll drill it all day. Do not be everything to everyone, okay? You won't stand out online and you'll never be found. Know your target audience, okay? So who do you like to work with? So the way I would talk to, a mother of two that's 40 years old, upper middle class, would be completely different than the way I would talk to an investor. So whoever is your target audience, you're going to want to whatever content you do, you're going to want to speak to them because those are the type of people you want to attract to you. When you start to do this, take a little bit of time ahead of time to plan out how this is going to work. So like Kelly said with his systems, it's the same thing with marketing. Think about how is a person going to go on the journey with you? What are they going to see? How is this all going to work? Because if you take time, you'll save a lot of time. If you plan ahead, you're going to save a lot of time instead of just start creating content and then try and pick up the ball after. It's really hard. Avoid canned content at all costs. So if there's anything that you have on a website that was there when you got the template, get rid of it. It's hurting you. And people do know what canned content is. And finally, if I can give you one piece of advice, video by far is the best way to make a connection with people. Okay, I use videos. I do a video blog called Keeping Real Estate Real. I use video with buyers, walking them through neighborhoods on Google Maps. I do videos at open house. So here's an example of an open house I did last month. And after everybody visited, I gave out I said, I'm having a draw for a $50 card. I need your cell phone. And then I text them a video right away, right after. Thanks a lot as soon as we had a minute. Thanks for coming. It was great. It takes people by surprise. You look different. You're standing out as opposed to everybody else there. And finally, what can I say? Don't strive to be average, strive to be better. And that's it. Thank you.